Welcome, everybody, to the iPad 3 coverage here at the GFQ Network. This is something that we do almost every year whenever there's an iPhone event, an iPad event, or any other large product getting released to the market or announcement happening. I am Andrew Zarian. I'm joined by Gary from MacMost.com. How you doing, Gary?
Good.
Big day today.
Indeed.
I'm also joined by Sunkast, which he's not on video. He's actually to my left here. How you doing, Sunkast?
I'm in the little monitor.
You are.
You got me caged up here.
I do. You're caged up. Well, the reason why, because we're trying to do as much coverage as we can, and we're going to be getting all different types of feeds, and we're going to have Gary for a little bit with us. We also, I think, Paul Thoreau will be joining us
I think you just
later
need to
on.
move your mic so that it's not in front of my face.
I know, that's the problem. I can't. A lot's going on today. You know, this is a big announcement. A lot of speculation over the last year.
I'm gonna have to put that in my contract now. By the way.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna have to do. A lot of speculation on what this device will be. Gary, you know, you cover Apple stuff. You do a lot of presentation stuff and a lot of keynote stuff. Like you do tutorials on your website on how to use these products, which comes in really handy for many people. What are you hoping that this device has? Realistically,
well, I don't know if I'm hoping for anything, but I'm trying to get my mind around the different ideas. I mean, people have been talking about faster processor, Retina display. People have been talking about some Siri features, some 4G capability, and better cameras. And then this morning, all of a sudden, people are talking about haptic capability, being able to touch and feel the screen. So that's what's been going around.
I mean, that's a huge leap from what we have heard over the last couple.
But
yeah,
we've been surprised before. So
yeah, I think it's an interesting thing. I mean, the Retina display is something that I believe we're definitely going to get. But the big question is 4G. Are we going to get a 4G device?
And does it really matter, considering that the vast majority of iPads sold are Wi-Fi only?
Yeah.
The 3G is just a really small part of the market, and 4G would even be smaller because there's really not that much 4G coverage around. I mean, unless you're in a major city.
One of the things that the BlackBerry Playbook does really well, I think, is its screen controls, its gestures and swiping and all that stuff. It doesn't necessarily have any controls on it. Do you think they're going to kind of do something more like the BlackBerry Playbook where there's no buttons on it whatsoever? It's all just controlled by the surface of the screen.
I think eventually all the iOS devices will go there. I mean, there's only 2 buttons now, right?
Yeah.
Well, unless you count the volume
Well, we did
control.
see those screenshots of a iPad purportedly without the home button on it.
Yeah, but it looks like it's turned on its side, so I don't think there's anything there. But I mean, I think eventually they'll go there. I can't believe actually they still have the home button on it.
Yeah,
And
me
that
too.
that all the rumors and, like, you know, people saying that this is the case or that is the case, they all have the home button on it. One of these days, the home button's going to go away. But I don't know. I just don't feel like that's what's coming today.
Tim Cook is on stage currently. He stated that our post-PC devices make up 76% of their revenue, of Apple's revenue, which is phenomenal if you consider this was a computer company for many, many years, and now they are a mobile company in many ways. Everybody worldwide knows what an iPhone is and what an iPad is. And they've probably come into contact with one, and they've used one, and they've never used the Mac, which is unbelievable to me. They made $64 million in revenue for the fourth quarter. Huge sales for them. 315 million iOS devices have been sold. So, and they're discussing Siri now, which that leads to the next thing. Gary, with Siri on the iPhone, and you know, it's still a beta product, and a lot of people understand that it's a beta product. Will this iPad have Siri, and is it necessary for it to have Siri? What do you think on that?
I mean, Siri is a whole bunch of things, and some of those things just can't exist on the iPad because it's not a continuously connected device like a phone. So a lot of people don't realize those things where you set like a reminder, remind me to do this when I get home. Well, even if you had a 3G or 4G iPad, you wouldn't have it on all the time. It wouldn't constantly know its new location. You turn on 3G when you want to use it and turn it off when you're not. So it wouldn't be able to remind you of something when you got home. And it wouldn't be able to use some of those location-based features as well. So I think we'll see some of the Siri features, like maybe dictation or something, appear in the iPad. But it's going to be interesting to see how Apple differentiates different versions of Siri on different devices. They may actually just keep it all on the iPhone. Say this is an iPhone-only feature. If you want Siri, get an iPhone.
But that kind of makes sense, though, right? I mean, it would be an iPhone-only feature because really, how often are you using the iPad compared to the iPhone?
Right, and the type of things the little virtual assistant that Siri is fits well with the iPhone, and it would make more sense. They just announced that Siri is going to be Japan as the next country to get Siri. I guess it's only in certain countries, as we know.
Yeah,
and
due to the
Siri is now
language.
getting it. So
Yeah, so that's the new.
Japan is getting Siri. Yeah.
Siri is. Let's see here. Let me go to camera 3.
They're talking about Siri in Japan going to be part of iOS 5.1 and available today.
So is 5.1 being rolled out today?
They said Siri in Japanese is a part of iOS 5.1. It's available today.
Okay.
That's specifically for Japan.
Okay, specifically for Japan.
Yeah.
Now, you can't talk about the post-PC world without talking about the App Store. Another rumor that we have heard is a HD-based Apple TV. You know, this whole HD dub for the next generation iPad and the Apple TV has been coming around. I personally don't think they're going to go into a Apple TV announcement while they are doing the iPad announcement.
No, and if it's just a change from 720p to 1080p, they could very easily suddenly have that in the store today. They've done that before. They've had big announcements about other things, and then later in the day, there's been new MacBooks and stuff like that.
Yeah, I believe they did that once.
Changes.
They did that once with the iPad the iPod announcement. They announced that, and then there was a refreshed MacBook.
Yeah, exactly. So it's possible that we could still see a new Apple TV today or next Tuesday or something like that. And it's completely unrelated to this. It's also possible that Tim Cook could mention it just at the end. Oh, by the way, we've got new Apple TVs today.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't imagine we're going to get that Steve Jobs reinventing the wheel for television type device yet.
Right, and they just announced, iTunes supporting 1080p for movies. So. Maybe they are about to announce a new Apple TV right here. Or,
okay,
I mean, it's not new Apple TV. It's just an Apple TV with a slightly different video output.
Yeah,
so
so
it's not new. It's just upping it a little bit.
What's the current processor on the Apple TV? I think
I believe it's the A4, isn't it? Or
A4, yeah. I mean, one of the rumors was that they're going to get the dual-core A5, which would make sense if they're pumping out more video, and it's going to take, it's going to be harder to process that on the A4. So that's a thing that makes sense, but I don't think we're going to see an Apple TV. A lot of people in the chat are discussing that. By the way, I encourage the chat room to, give us suggestions. What do you guys think is going to happen today? Tim Cook is on stage currently. He's making a couple announcements. We have a great chat room at our website, gfqlive.tv. That's our main chat, but we also have numerous other chat rooms, and one of them is JTV. There's about 400 people watching on JTV, and a lot of people in the chat room there commenting on what we are discussing. They just announced an Apple TV, by the way.
Did they?
According to the chat room. Now, I'm waiting for the site to refresh. No, I don't see it. I don't see that they announced one. According at 11:11, iOS 5.1 is available today, by the way.
That 111.
Five. Yeah, here we go. I think this is Apple TV, is it?
So they've announced movies and TV shows in 1080p, but I mean that's just on the on your Mac. So they haven't said anything about a refresh of the Apple TV yet. Okay, now they have.
Yeah.
According to at least one source here, the new Apple TV.
Okay, so they are announcing it. I guess I got. You know what? I'm gonna cover both. I think on Engadget, Engadget is a little quicker than the other ones.
Yeah, they're all
1080p.
Is that what it is, Sunkast? Is that what they're
New
saying?
Apple TV announced 1080p, new interface, which looks more like iOS.
Oh, I like the new interface. I don't know if you could see this. Let me see if I could pull it up here. Here we go. That is the new interface. Gary, I'm going to send you video so you can see it as well. I don't know if you're seeing the feed. There we go. So that it does. It's very iOS-y. Very iOS-like. Yeah. And rightfully so. I think that the interfaces should all be, kind of the same. I think when you're using an Apple product, you should know that you're using an iOS product. I don't think that we should have this different environment for every little device. And we're noticing that with Microsoft. Microsoft is, merging every environment into one. The Xbox is kind of it has a Metro style. Windows Phone has it, and now Windows 8 will have it as well, and on the tablet. So it's kind of this unified operating system for all these devices, which I'm not opposed to that at all. The new interface will definitely a TV version of iOS, icons, apps, cover flow. This is interesting. There's an app section there, and the current state of iOS, there is no apps, right?
No third-party apps. Yeah, they just have their little choices there.
Their little choices.
So they had Netflix, or they had like NFL or NHL to it. So
But is this a completely separate device, or what exactly is it?
well, for
They just said
1080p, it
Apple
would
TV,
need to
but
be a
what is
completely
Apple
separate
TV?
device. But the question is, will the current Apple TV 2 support this? Will there be an update pushed out for Apple TV 2 so you can get this new interface?
I think it looks nice. I mean, there's a lot of like media devices out there that try to do these sort of things. I just recently built an HD PC, and I've looked at software out there like Boxy and whatnot, and the quality of the user interfaces does not compare to what you would get with an Apple TV.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, because the Apple TV is a specific device for this. So they're showing how the video downloads work, I guess, and how we're checking the scene from extremely loud and incredibly close. Take a look at the buffering. They're showing how it buffers. They're showing music. So they're just reviewing the Apple TV, and again, I'm surprised that they're actually making a big announcement over this. Can you see, Gary?
iCloud capability there? Movies you purchased via iCloud, you can watch on Apple TV. So that might be finally breaking through the whole thing of, well, they're saying purchase, but right now when you rent a movie, if you rent it on your iPad, watch it halfway, and then decide you want to watch it on the Apple TV, you got to rent it again.
Yeah.
But they're saying stuff purchased can be watched on it via iCloud. So presumably, if you purchase something, you could watch.
So now they've got Tim Cook back on stage.
Tim Cook's back on now. I don't know. I don't like how Engadget's doing the setup currently. I'm not a big fan. $99 still, so not bad. I mean, you're getting this updated
Next week,
version.
Yeah,
next week, $99. I mean, that's a great. That's a really good price range for this thing. March 16th.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's just it. Is how much money is somebody going to be willing to pay for a device like this?
$100. I think $100. And let's ask the chat room: are you willing to pay $100 for a device like this?
Because in a way, you're already paying for a TV. You're already paying for a Blu-ray player. You're already paying for all these accessories that go along with your TV. It's like, and now they want you to buy this other device, but if it's a couple $100 or more, how willing are you going to be to spend that kind of money when you've already spent, $1,000 or more on a TV? Now,
Gary, what do you think is wrong with possibly just using the iPad as your Apple TV?
Oh, you mean just air streaming it to?
Sure. Yeah, or
playing
making,
it to you.
Yeah, or via HDMI. Just because you could convert it from.
It's just a little awkward. I mean, that's where the $99 price tag comes in. For $99, just get it and you've got it there. My wife wants to watch something on TV with it. I don't have to give her, my iPad to watch it. So I think it's just a little awkward to have it plugged in with a cable and manipulating that screen and have the cable go across, or using Airstream where the quality is not going to, it's going to lag a little bit with your Wi-Fi. Just makes sense. I mean, that's why the low price tag. Just no brainer. Just get it and have it hooked up.
So this current generation, $100, not bad. Pretty good price range. Will be worth buying for many people.
Yeah.
Tim Cook. Who's on stage now? Is Tim still on stage?
Yeah, I think he's tells Tim Cook, and they're saying that more iPads in the last quarter of last year. They've sold more last year in the last quarter than any PC maker sold of their PCs. Yeah,
I'm looking here. Personal computer units shipped. HP shipped 15.1 million. iPads 15.4 million. Acer 9.8, Dell 11.9, Lenovo 13 million. So they have shipped more than the PC manufacturers have, which is mind-blowing that so many people are buying it. Gary, why are people buying this device? Why are so many people interested in the iPad? We've heard, people say that it's expensive, it's not a full computer, and you know what? Yeah, it's not a full computer. It might be a little pricey when you could compare it to buying a laptop for $399. But why are people buying this?
Well, I think there's no comparison to the anything that's $399 laptop compared compared to the iPad. It's just a much nicer user experience, and you get all the apps. So you get to play all these games everybody else is playing, and I mean, it's just a really great experience for most non-geeks, I would say. I mean, a geek like me, I'm going to have all the stuff, but for most typical users, it's just a great experience to have that small touchscreen device, be able to access the world from it. And I think the price point, it might be a little high, but every time somebody plays with one of them for the first time, they want one.
Yeah. 9 to 5 Mac is reporting that they've spotted a 4G LTE model in the Apple inventory systems. I don't know how credible that is, but that's a rumor coming out now. The chat room is sending it over to me. I'm looking to see if now they're discussing gaming. By the way, and you did bring up something interesting. Gaming on these devices have become the norm for many people. This is how people game now. The casual gamer is not going and buying a Nintendo DS. They're not buying a PSP. They're buying an iPhone or an iPad, and they're using that as their gaming system, which is crazy if you think about it. And this has become a gaming. Yeah. This is a console.
Well, I mean, think about it. When the iPod came out, right? Sony with the Walkman sat and looked while their entire market was eaten. And then all those cell phone manufacturers, the ones that used to be around, the Nokia and Motorola and all them, sat around, and all of a sudden Apple came in with the iPhone and took their market. And then the whole time, Nintendo with the DS and the Game Boy sat around, and all of a sudden the iPhone, iPod Touch, and iPad came and took their market.
See, I don't think anybody imagined that this casual gaming where people are willing to spend $1, $2, $3 on a game and play it for about a couple hours and then stop playing it. I don't think people imagined. I don't think the gaming industry imagined that they could get away with doing something like that. And when Apple started doing it, it kind of worked. I don't know if you remember, but there was I believe it was a Nokia gaming phone. Do you remember what the name was?
Engage?
The Engage, yes. And they tried it with that, and it was awful. The experience was awful.
And Apple didn't even try. They just came out with a device where developers can make apps, and the apps were on a touch screen, and then the developers came in and made all these games, and it became the #1 gaming device. So, without even trying, iOS became this big player in the game industry.
Again, I welcome conversations. I welcome suggestions from the chat room. What do you guys think? What are you guys hoping for? And what do you hope to see? You could just type in our chat room at gfqlive.tv, or you could just chat in the chat room you're in. I know JTV has a lot of people. I know Ustream, Stickum. We're pretty much everywhere right now with this. So continue with the conversation. Before we continue, I want to thank our sponsor, for this event. That's hover.com, domain names made simple. They are sponsoring the Apple iPad coverage. They are domain names done easily, done simply, and done clean. You don't have a barrage of emails. You don't have constant reminders. And it's extremely affordable, guys. I mean, it's amazing. If you go to gfq.hover.com, you get 10% off your entire purchase. They are one of the most credible domain name companies I've seen. They don't need to trick you, again, like I said. And they're excellent. They're the company that I buy domain names from. I have about 200 domain names currently, almost 200. And I've transferred all of them to Hover, or I purchased them all on Hover. gfq.hover.com, you get 10% off your entire purchase. Thank you, Hover. So the storage now, because the rumors are that, do we need more storage on this device?
Well, we're about to find out here.
Yeah, here it is. They're talking about 200,000. I
believe they are talking about the new iPad now.
They are, okay. So they're going into it now.
Yep.
Let's see what Engadget is saying. We're refining the category that Apple created in the original iPad. Today we're announcing a new iPad and it's amazing. So they are showing it. Here we go. Here's the new iPad. I don't see a button on there.
I don't see one either.
I don't see it. I mean, I don't know if it's the rendering of the image or the angle, but I don't. Oh no!
I see a button.
Oh, there it is. I guess it was the rendering that went out the window.
You just didn't want a button to be there.
I don't know. Does it look any different to you in size? I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. I have a current generation one here, and the angles look pretty close. I don't see a speaker on the bottom of this render, and again, it could just be the rendered image that we're seeing. But they're saying
display. Here we go.
You want to know about the new iPad? Here we go. Retina display announced in the new iPad. Sure enough, until you've seen it, you don't understand how amazing it is. To this day, no one yet has matched the display technology. Yeah, I mean, they had to go with Retina at this point. They had to. And the reason why people were saying that they didn't go with the last generation is because of the pricing. They weren't able to price it at that $499 price range. That was the rumor. I mean, I don't know how true that is, but that could have been the reason why they held off. Or the reason could have been that they just wanted to sell this one, you know? I mean, that also plays a huge part into it.
Well, it's like, it does get to a point where if you're plateauing, it's what do you do from here? If you don't save any, that's what Apple has done from the beginning, even from the beginning of their iPhone, is that they've left features out for future generations.
Yeah. And the camera is a perfect example of that in the first one. We're seeing zoomed in images to highlight the quality. Naturally, what we see is looks far amazing. So this thing looks pretty good according to the reports. Here is a image of what it looks like when they're zooming in. And again, of course, the Retina display. The reason why the Retina, and correct me if I'm wrong, Gary, pretty much you're not supposed to be able to see the pixels with the human eye.
Yeah, pretty much.
The space in between the pixels.
Yeah. Yeah, so you've got 4 pixels, but before you only had 1. The screen size is the same, but just have finer resolution.
Yeah.
It's 2,048 pixels by 1,536.
2,000.
Exactly double. Yeah.
20, yeah, it's exactly double, which they kind of had
That's pretty high resolution.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a higher resolution than 1080p.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
That would be a 1920 by 1080, so it is higher than HD.
But again, it's still 4:3 though. It's not 16:9.
Right, which is good.
That's a little weird, I thought.
The existing apps will work.
yeah, they would really have to redo what they're doing if they did that. I mean, that's why they've doubled the pixels. It's still backwards compatible.
It's going to be great for photos, and it's going to be great for reading books, just because, I mean, you won't really be able to notice the difference in the letters and the characters, but after reading a book, it's going to feel better.
According to this, it has 1 million more pixels than HD.
264 DPI.
Yeah.
So that's a typical old-fashioned laser printer, which it can be used to like go to publications for, is 300 DPI. So this is like you're in the neighborhood of paper.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, 300 DPI. This is 264 DPI. Here is the iPad now is exactly held at the iPad now. This is moving really fast. Let me go down. For the iPhone, held at 10 inches, you can't distinguish the pixels. The iPad now is held at 15, but even closer with the Retina. So they're doing a demo of, how far it needs to be held and how close it needs to be for you to see the pixels. They're doing my optometrist is there actually currently, and he's liking this. 44% greater saturation. Here's an image that they're showing. I think this is going to be mostly about the display. Oh, here's a good compatibility. Here they're comparing the two images from the current to the old one, and you could tell that it's a lot more.
It does have the A5X processor. They just confirmed it. It's quad-core graphics.
Quad-core
graphics?
Yep.
Okay. So that's now confirmed, too. So pretty much everybody's been spot on with this.
This is going to be a pretty nice device, I think, for gaming.
Oh, yeah. The quad-core and the display?
Yeah. I mean, this is definitely something that I think for portable mobile gaming kind of stuff, it's going to be hands down the best.
They're saying it's designed for Retina and
it's nobody's even trying to compete, right? The only successful competitor to the iPad so far has been the Kindle Fire.
Yeah.
And they've only competed in price. They've actually dumbed it down. I mean, it's got, no cameras, none of the other bells and whistles. The only way they're able to compete is to price it $199.
Well,
so they're not even thinking about this kind of stuff.
See, this is where Android has dropped the ball, because Android is trying to compete in the price, and you really can't compete in the price of this device. You really can't, and you shouldn't.
And it's not working. I mean, they're getting some sales, but I don't think they're really cannibalizing very many sales of the iPad. See, a new camera. We got a new camera.
Oh, here we go. Next feature, iSight camera. All right, so let's see. Let's hear about this camera now. And Engadget is acting up really poorly currently.
Everybody's now watching these light blogs.
Yeah, I mean that's how you got to get the information now. I don't know. See, the camera from what we saw in that demo video that came out last week, it had a larger, I guess, optic in the video. So I don't know how real that was, or you know, if it was
5 megapixel backside.
okay. And currently we have what?
It's what is it backside? It's 2.
5 megapixel backside illuminated lens, 5 element lens, IR filter, ISP built into the A5X. Basically, it's the same setup as the iPhone 4S.
Not quite. iPhone 4S is an 8 megapixel.
Yeah.
So I can't get it all right.
Auto exposure, autofocus.
Is it just me? Does it look like the size, the opening for the camera is actually bigger than it
Yeah,
used
it
to
is.
be?
It is bigger. Yeah.
It would have to be, yeah.
They would have to go bigger with that.
So now if they're doing that, does that mean it's thicker?
No, not necessarily. I mean, they could go a tiny bit thicker, and I don't think anybody would notice it.
There's one thing I gotta say, because they're talking about they're demoing photos from the new camera now, and I have a really big problem when developers and manufacturers show photos of a new device and it's taken outside. Of course, everything's gonna look pretty decent outside because you have optimal light.
Yeah, that's how it always is.
It's when you're inside in maybe a dimly lit area that you'll notice issues with the camera.
Here's an example.
Which is, and the irony here is the iPhone camera is pretty decent inside for something that doesn't, have all the features of it.
No, the iPhone camera is by far the best camera I've seen on any mobile device, any phone. I mean, it takes unbelievable pictures.
Well, there is Nokia's new PureView phone.
Yeah.
That's 41 megapixels, but even that's what stems from my rant here about these demo photos, is that both the PureView and the photos that they're showing for the new iPad, they're all outdoor photos, and of course, everything's going to look great outdoors.
So the third feature is 1080p video recording. No big shock there. Wherever you are, you could grab HD video. I'm not surprised at the 1080p video. By the way, the video on this is awful. The current generation iPad is really bad. The video.
For you and me, Andrew, but
yeah, for many it's fun.
Every soccer game I go to for my kid, there's 3 or 4 parents there with the iPad, holding it up, taking video, and
you're looking at
them playing. So, but yeah, but 1080p would be better.
I have relatives that do that all the time, and and it's grainy, bad pictures, and they're happy with it.
They're happy, but it beats the standard definition tape camera that they had, 6 years ago. So. And yeah, all right.
So now we're seeing how the unstabilized footage would look. There's software stabilization, which is that software stabilization really makes the device, the iPhone 4S, a
Here
lot
we go
better
with the
than
new
everybody else.
voice dictation.
Okay, fourth voice dictation. The iPad is a great iOS device, and it has a great keyboard. On the
Is
bottom,
that really
a
a big
microphone.
feature, though? And I'm not trying to be a bummer. I'm just saying it's that really something that's that big of a feature.
Most people don't use it, but
It's been
the
on the
people
iPhone 4S for the whole time here. So, but it's just good to have it. You got to check it off, right? It was added to the iPhone. It's something that's useful on the iPad. Now they're adding it, so we've got it.
So does this mean Siri's on its way also? Voice dictation.
Probably. I'm thinking no, because else they would have said Siri. But this portion of Siri, the voice dictation, you can see it there. It's on the keyboard.
Supports U.S.,
just
English,
like
British,
iPhone.
Australian, French, German, and Japanese.
Yeah.
And it looks like 4G. A 4G.
Fifth feature, 4G.
LTE.
Look at that. They're doing it. All the rumors were wrong that they did not have LTE. Very surprised. Now I'm dying to know what they've done with the battery in this and what the battery life is.
Yeah,
That
really.
is the big question now.
And whether or not it's available today, this first round, when they did the original iPad, the 3G version, took them a month to get around to that.
Yeah.
And the Wi-Fi version was available. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe we'll see the same thing. They'll say, the new iPad's available next week, but the 4G version will have that. We'll have that for you soon.
Did the store go down with the? Well, I guess the store went down for the.
This morning, yeah.
Yeah, the store went down, but did the store go down for the iPad 2?
Yeah, but I think it went down just before the announcement started, and people were making a big deal that it was down a couple hours earlier today.
For just for comparison, the iPad 2 has 7.2 megabits down on HSPA, and the new iPad has 21 megabytes per second on HSPA plus.
Yeah, with LTE,
so that's
takes the
almost
cake.
4 times faster just on that speed alone. If you're looking at HSDPA, that's at 42 megabits per second.
Yeah, look at LTE, 73. If you go with LTE, it's capable of 73 megabits per second. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get 73 megabits per second on your device. It really has to do with your...
But either way, you're probably going to get a heck of a lot better performance regardless.
Yeah. So they're showing a demo of how fast, the network is right now. Now, that's very interesting that they went with 4G. This really... I have a Wi-Fi model, and to me, the 3G was not worth getting.
Yeah, me
but
too.
But the 4G... looks like it might be worth getting.
Yeah, you're in New York.
I'm in New York, yeah.
For 90% of the country, I mean, there's large parts of Colorado that are still on the Edge network. So this announcement this week of AT&T saying they're, depreciating the Edge network made me a little nervous. It's like, they're going to shut off most of Colorado if they do that. So we're still waiting for a lot of 3G here. Here in Denver, I've got the 4G and the 3G, everything. But
how good is the 4G? What are you getting as far as speeds for 4G in Denver?
4G using Sprint, I was getting great. I was getting pretty better than standard home DSL stuff.
Okay.
So they are confirming that it's also Verizon LTE.
Okay. Over here on my Galaxy Nexus, I'm able to get 20 megabits a second with 4G.
Nice.
Which is, just mind blowing how fast it is.
Yeah, I think I was more around 5 to 10 megabits.
And that's the thing about LTE. It's wireless, so it's going to vary depending on the city and depending on where you are.
Yeah.
Here's another demo they're showing of video, which we all understand how fast it is. We get it. It's fast. I don't think anybody's questioning the speed of this device.
This is a good market for Apple to test 4G, because if they stuck it on the iPhone and everybody would get the new iPhone, and then all the people outside of 4G range would be complaining that they weren't getting those speeds. But with the iPad, they're selling different versions, the Wi-Fi only, and then they'll be selling the 4G version. So they could basically say, hey, if you're not in 4G area, don't buy the 4G iPad. It's not going to do you any good. And they'll get a lot less complaints, and they'll get to really test out how this works before rolling it out on the iPhone in the future.
What is the current specs on the battery life currently on the iPad 2?
Well, for me, it lasts about 10 hours.
Yeah.
So, but 10 hours, and with non-use, it lasts days, many days, a week.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I charged this thing, and I'm at...
Yeah, the iPad, I typically don't even charge it on a regular schedule. When I notice it's low, I plug it in for a little bit, and then I use it until I notice it's low again. Whereas, like with a phone, I just plug it in every night. It's on a regular schedule because I know it'll die on me the next day with a high amount of use I give it.
Someone in our chat said something interesting. He goes, I wonder if the non-4G iPad will be thinner.
Yeah. Hey, check this out. So the iPad can now be a personal hotspot too. So there's a reason for me to get the 4G version, is I get the 4G version and then I turn it into a personal hotspot using 4G, and I can connect my my MacBook to it.
On both AT&T and Verizon. That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
Verizon is
whichever one it is the one you sign up for, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Now it could be a personal hotspot. If the carrier supports it, that's what they're saying. The device is said to be the most...
well, of course, because the carrier wants to charge you more money for it. So.
Yeah.
So that'll mean it'll be available in Europe, and then in the U.S. we'll get it like in 2015 or something.
Yeah. By the way, it's 3G world ready as well. They're just noting that, so it could be used worldwide through GSM. Let's see here. Some more facts. 4G, faster than 3G HSPA plus, DC HSDPA, 3G ready, personal hotspot, most
All right.
bands ever.
Then we're getting ready for a big feature announcement because he's running, he's reviewing everything.
Yeah.
And
Now they're
so
gonna
the
talk
question
about
is
battery
he
life.
done, or is he like, oh, and also that's nothing. 'Cause
And
here's
one
our-
more thing.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm surprised they haven't mentioned anything yet about battery life.
Well, they're talking about it now.
You may recall the iPad 2 claimed to have 10 hours of battery life. 9 hours on 3G.
Is that yeah, that's what he's saying. So now we're going to get, even more. I bet they're
10
gonna
hours
say
of
that.
battery life and 9 hours on 4G is what they're
Okay,
saying.
so it's the same.
Same thing.
Same thing.
Which with a Retina display, that's quite a feat.
Okay, so Tim Cook says it's 9.4 millimeters thin and 1.4 pounds. What was the iPad 2? Believe it's fairly the same.
Yeah, probably about the same, but I bet you this is a tiny bit thicker because if it was the tiniest bit thinner, they'd be saying that.
Yeah, it's even
They're
thinner
also
than.
saying it is a little bit heavier.
Yeah, it's slightly heavier.
I think it was, if
just
I'm
about.
not mistaken, I could be. iPad 2 was 1.2 or 1.3 pounds.
Yeah, and they're talking price now.
$499.
$499 for a 16 gigabyte model.
So all we've got left is the name. What the name of the new iPad is.
The iPad Extreme. It's gonna come roaring through a box. 32 gig $599, 64 gig $699. Nope.
So
no.
there is going to be a 64 gigabyte model.
Yeah. I had a feeling it was a 64 gig model. The big question was, is there a 128? And no, there is not a 128 model. If you want 4G,
That would be a lot of money to spend for a 128.
Here's the pricing. 4G is $629, $729, and $829. iPad available March 16th.
Yes, March 16th.
Next
That's what I
week.
wanted.
Now,
When
is this
available again?
March 16th? You get 9 hours of battery life on 4G. They're just rehashing that. Here is the big question. Is this worth getting for someone that has an existing iPad? If somebody has an iPad 2, is this worth getting? If somebody has an iPad 1, is this worth getting?
Yes.
Depends who the person is.
Other than 4G, I'm talking about Wi-Fi. If you want to get Wi-Fi, is this worth getting for you if you want Wi-Fi?
Well, I'm also taking into account the larger display and the new camera on it.
Yeah, but it's still not the 8-megapixel camera.
No.
You're still not there. March 23rd, the rest of the world is going to get it.
But you had
Austria,
the same argument when the iPad 2 came out.
was it worth getting?
Was that worth getting from the iPad 1?
I don't know because I don't have an iPad 1.
All of the let's see, the $130 more for the 4G. So $629, $729, $829 for 4G.
Yeah, I mean that's not awful. It's not bad.
And they said, well, they don't not saying anything about a delayed launch for those. So assume everything launches on the same day and in a lot of countries at the same time.
Pre-order starts today, by the way. Pre-order is today. So you can start getting it. You can start ordering now. I don't know, Gary. Is this something that if somebody has an existing iPad 2, Wi-Fi, is this a big upgrade? I mean, is this the one say, wow, you know what? I need to get this right now.
No, I mean, for most people, the iPad 1 is still fine. I mean, the core features, the core functionality of the iPad is in all three versions. And for the typical user, there is really no reason to upgrade. For anybody that likes the newest, hottest, coolest thing, then there's a ton of reason to upgrade. I mean, if you've been jealous of your friends filming things with the iPad 2, or maybe it's maybe the smart cover or whatever, and you've been waiting for the iPad 3, now's the time to jump on it because, you've got a year to another refresh, most likely.
This went by really fast, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really speeding through this.
So they're doing demos now of apps that have been optimized for the Retina display.
Yeah.
So we still don't know if it's called the iPad 3 or the iPad 2 HD or...
Yeah, they still have not stated a name.
That's that word, yeah.
You know what they're going to eventually do? They're just going to call it the new iPhone. Or the new iPad. I think can you imagine them going to like an iPad 7?
Why not? No reason not to.
Because nobody will remember the existing model, the original.
Yeah. I mean, I think
Well, they
it
still
you know
call they
builds
still call
anticipation to have numbers after
Yeah.
things, and we come to expect it, and um, so and then it also they can do that trick like they did with the 3GS iPhone and the 4S, where they could come out with a new one that doesn't have that many features, and then nobody says, "Hey, your refresh didn't have that many new features." Oh, well, it's not a full version; it's just a half
Yeah.
version. Buy it if you want.
Well,
So,
yeah, I mean, we've become, I don't know how this happened, but we've become this society where we constantly want a huge leap from the previous model, and not everything is like that. You know, sometimes it's revolutionary rather than evolutionary.
right, and
It's
when
evolutionary rather than revolutionary, and you know what? The first generation was revolutionary. The second one, you know, you got thinner, it got faster, so that was another big step. But after a while, you can't take these huge leaps every device.
Well, but and when somebody does take a huge leap, people complain about that too. You know, like Facebook's interface, right? They take a huge leap and change their interface, and everybody complains. So,
well, that's because it sucks.
Yeah.
well, I don't know. It's as a game developer, I can tell you, people complain when things change. They always do. You know, you could add as many features as you want to a new version of a game. People want it the old way, even if the old way was buggy. Oh, I like the little bug where I could click on the thing and it did this. And it's like that was a bug, and you like that. So,
Let's see. They're doing a flight simulator game currently. They're showing off the graphics and how it is. I think Namco made it, right? Is that what they're showing? I'm not really impressed by the stills, but
well, yeah, you can't. I mean, you're seeing the screen dumbed down onto the big projector, and then a photograph being taken of it, and then being compressed and sent, and then displayed on the page. So yeah, this is kind of it's like seeing a demo of HD video on a standard definition screen.
let's see here. Any other news? They're just doing a flight simulator game, which I don't really care about.
Yeah, this is a really long demo for them.
Yeah, yeah. They're pushing the graphics. I mean that they have to figure out something to push. And the graphics, I mean, it's a quad core CPU, and you know what? The battery life staying the same for a quad core, a Retina, and the 4G is quite an accomplishment. I have to give them a lot of credit for that, because the battery life that they're able to achieve with this device is far, far more than what everybody else is able to do. I haven't seen anybody come close to what they're able to do with the specs that they have. Looking at the chat room right now, it happened for us. It worked in the real world. Large companies and worldwide market caps of 4S. Small changes. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, the 4S was not a big change, but people were expecting an iPhone 5. I think the rumors pretty much ruin it for many companies. We start expecting these crazy devices with these, you know,
Everybody wants to
ultra-thin-
be able to predict what's going to happen.
Yeah, so what happens is that everybody's looking at these rumors, and of course the rumors are a lot more than what you actually get from the event. And then when the event happens, you look at yourself and you go, well, that's not what I wanted. You could do that with anything. I mean, you see with the car manufacturers, right? I mean, it's been years of speculation of the new model and what to expect in 5 years, and it's always been these slick, futuristic cars, and they never
cars.
come. Cars are still looking the same. Yeah, I want a flying iPhone. That's what I want. Let's see here. Any other news so far? They're still doing a demo. Autodesk. I don't know what Autodesk is. Sketchbook
Graphics.
product line management.
Yeah.
10
Well, yeah,
million
that's
customers.
for those that use drawing programs. The Retina display is going to be really awesome. I mean, that's a small number of people, but being able to draw with that amount, I mean, it's going to be like drawing on paper.
Yeah, well, so it's going to be very accurate, right? The coloring.
Right. Of course, you still have the touch of your fingertip. Is this, you know? So it's good for drawing and bad for drawing in some ways.
Yeah, they're demoing it right now, right here. I mean, I guess that's it with the event. I can't imagine them announcing anything else. They pretty much announced everything.
They might. I mean, they in the past they've done these demos, these long demos where they show off a bunch of stuff, and then.
But then
sometimes
again,
they
I
kinda-
mean, you look at events that have happened in the past few months where now Tim Cook has taken over, Steve Jobs is no longer around. Is Tim Cook going to do things differently? Are they going to get rid of this one more thing?
Well, Steve Jobs didn't do one more thing.
Yeah, at the last
for
one.
most of the last, for about the last 3 years, he only did it occasionally. And what we still have to wait for is the name of this thing.
Yeah. Can export image greater than 100 megapixels. That's what it's saying right now. So here's another image of the drawing feature. Yeah, this is pretty cool for any artist out that wants to use this currently. It's fairly accurate to what you're able to do due to the Retina display. No name yet. I mean, I'm still waiting.
It's got a higher resolution than my monitor.
Yeah.
Then again, that just shows you how old my computer is.
Let's see here. Retina display again. They're talking about it. Yeah, I mean, what is the name? Are they going to call it the iPad 2S? Are they going to call it the iPad 4G? They could do that as well.
Well, but then what? So you get the iPad 4G Wi-Fi only.
Yeah. The iPad 4G Wi-Fi only.
It's kind of weird that they didn't announce it right up front what it was going to be called. So that makes me think that they are going to go with a S or something afterwards.
Do you think they'll go with the HD?
But or the HD? But I don't know. It just seems to me that nobody would complain if they called this the iPad 3. It's the iPad 3. Let's see what they say. Maybe they just forgot. They forgot to put it on a slide.
Yeah.
The name would.
Someone said there is no Wi-Fi version. No, there is a Wi-Fi version. They set the pricing anyway.
Oh yeah, the pricing's clear on that.
Yeah. They announced 2 separate pricing models.
Here comes something. They're saying that Phil says they have an amazing new project.
Okay.
So they're going to demo something amazing now.
Here we go. Mike is on stage to give us a demo. Well, I think it's a software demo.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. It is great to be back. Gary, I'm going to put the camera on you. Give me 1 second.
Okay. Let's see.
Infinity Blade Dungeons, a new game.
Yeah. Man, the
But
people at Nintendo were hurting
something
watching
we've been
this.
saying for a while is that this is going to be one of those devices that's going to be so awesome for gaming because of the graphics, the quad-core graphics on the A5X chip.
All right, so I guess I missed it, right?
Now, they announced Infinity Blade Dungeons.
Okay, so new Infinity Blade. I wondered the demo. I mean, it's a great game. Let's see if there's any imaging. Did you play Infinity Blade 2, Gary? I mean, I did. I wasn't blown away by it.
No, not my sort of game. I'm still waiting for somebody to take advantage of the iPad for a fantastic real-time strategy game. And I know there's some out there. None so far have really impressed me enough.
You know which one I've been playing? It's not really a strategy game. I guess kind of it is. It's Tower Defense, and I've been playing. Which one is the name? The new one that
you are addicted to your
I love
iPad.
Tower Defense. Kingdom Rush. I've been playing Kingdom Rush.
I haven't played that, but I've played tons and tons of Tower Defense games.
You know what Andrew does? Well, he'll say he's got to go do a meeting, but what he really has to do is go play on his iPad.
That is exactly what I do. I'm like, listen, I'm in a meeting right now. I can't talk to you.
I want them to port, like Rise of Nations to the iPad. It would just be an awesome iPad game.
So now they're talking about HDR graphics and auto tone or tone mapping, which is pretty cool. This whole thing with HDR is something that a lot of people are interested in, and it will really help the photos that you take.
Let's see. Is there any more images? No, they're not showing any more images, apparently. Double tap to freeze them. So, okay, this looks like a cool game. Now, I wonder how the gameplay is going to be on existing iPad models, on iPad 2s.
These may only be available on the new iPad. They may require the new processor and Retina display. And I'm sure Apple wants some of those to be out there.
Yeah, Unreal Engine is unleashing the power of the new iPad. He says it has more memory and screen resolution than the Xbox 360 and PS3. But that's not... I mean, I understand what they're doing, but that's a stretch. Here we go. By the way, it is just the new iPad. I was right.
So they're
It
not
is
going to have a number.
no
They're gonna
number.
Go from iPad to iPad 2 to the new iPad.
Yeah.
now?
It is just the new iPad. So much for the iPad HD. Yeah, so what do they do with the next version? The new iPad 2?
What they could mean is it's called, iPad. Well, okay, so if you look at the back of the current iPad, it doesn't say iPad 2 on the back. It says iPad.
Yeah.
So this is iPad 3, but, it'll just say iPad.
Well, it's the same thing when they're talking about iPod touches.
Right.
Yeah,
the iPad Touch, they don't have. You have to. It's hell to try to figure out what version of the iPod Touch somebody has.
Yeah, you could figure it out. You're like, oh, it's a second gen, it's a third gen. I mean, you could have figured that out at one point between
Right,
the fourth.
but and a user that needs help with it wouldn't know how to
Oh,
figure
no
out which one
clue.
they've got.
Not a clue. Yeah.
Yeah.
The catering dungeon craft. Okay, so here's another image of the game. I mean, game looks phenomenal. It looks great.
The just looking at other websites, because obviously I can't look at the Apple Store. Other websites listed it as Apple iPad 2 on their sales pages.
Really?
So
Well, you have to have some sort of way to differentiate between the previous version and the new version.
yeah.
Because you
I
can't
think
come out with another version that you're going to call the new iPad. So you're going to have two generations called the new iPad.
Yeah, I think this will be iPad 3. I think we just haven't gotten around to.
Yeah.
When it goes into the store, we'll see what the exact designation is.
I mean, it's interesting. I mean, it's a strange thing for it to be a little thicker. I mean, that's a little backwards for Apple. I mean, I understand why they did it, but that's not typically what they've done in the past with these devices.
Yeah, to get the battery in there, they just needed to do it.
What are they talking about? $9.99 per app free update. I don't know what this is for. Just popped up on the screen, but they're not explaining what it is.
Probably just for Infinity Blade, right?
No, they're showing something else. Per app. Today, App Store. What's available?
Today, yeah, I'm seeing that. Yeah, productivity apps have been updated as well. So this is about iWork.
Okay, there we go.
So you're just saying that they've updated Pages, Numbers, and Keynote. They're the same price, but the updates are free if you've already bought them.
Okay. So if you bought GarageBand and whatever.
Right. Yeah, iLife too. They're talking about GarageBand right now. Smart Strings, a note editor, uses iCloud for sharing.
This is interesting. I can't update on the iPad. It's not working.
Fail.
You need the new one for it.
I need
for it to update.
yeah, sorry, no more updates for you.
Yeah.
You need the new one. Dock connector does not change. Yeah, the dock connector is still the same, by the way. So we are not getting that Thunderbolt device that everybody thought we would.
Well, I think
Thunderbolt.
it's too
Who
soon
thought
for them
Thunderbolt?
to change it.
I got one email yesterday saying that he has 100% confirmation that we're going Thunderbolt in the connector.
No, that's not what Thunderbolt is. Thunderbolt is a direct port into the bus of of a motherboard for a computer. You can't just solder on a Thunderbolt onto the A5 processor. It doesn't work like that.
Gary says who? This guy knows. He knows. He has confirmation. This guy
Sure.
knew. He was 100%. He goes, I have 100% confirmation.
Yeah.
I mean, I can definitely see them down the road changing the connector.
Changing the connector, it'd have to be like a next gen connector, like something beyond Thunderbolt where it's the same shape, but that's not typical for the computer industry to have something it's the same cable, but it does something different on different devices. So you've got this, like, go directly onto the bus and add functionality to your computer. Oh, and the same little thing now works something completely different for the iPad.
Let's see here.
They're still talking about GarageBand.
Yeah. They're dragging it. They're dragging it, Gary. Trying to, but Engadget's acting up. Okay, so it's available today
Yeah,
in the App Store.
All right.
Watch 4 dudes play some jams with iPad. David Grohl would be super upset, and that's what Engadget is writing.
Okay, it's iMovie now.
Okay.
So what do they give us?
Have you ever used? I mean, I know you've done tutorials about it, but do you find yourself using iMovie?
No, it's not meant for me. I mean, I'm using Final Cut Pro on a Mac, so going to iMovie on the iPad just doesn't make sense for me personally. But I mean, it's really kind of interesting. I'd hate to be an iPad user and then decide I want to do a little bit of light video editing and then realize, well, I can't do it on the iPad. I got to
Sure.
go to my computer. It's nice to have that app there. And there's some competing third-party apps too. And being able to not have to shift over. If I'm a college student and all I have is the iPad, I don't want to have to say, well, can't do video editing. So that's what it's for.
Yeah, to many people, I mean, this is their video editor.
Yeah, I mean,
This is what they use.
So let's see if they major updates to iMovie.
Is
It
that-
sounds like they're kind of doing this a little bit backwards in the sense that, usually they say the bigger announcements after the demos that they do for all the new apps.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm surprised they did it this way. Well, I think, Tim Cook also has to battle the whole I'm not Steve Jobs thing. So he does a keynote differently. I mean, he's in charge now, and I guess this is how he's planning on doing it. Tim Stevens is on, and he's showing, and he goes, once upon a time, it says, so they're doing I guess, demo of the new iMovie. Beautiful cuts for home movies. Does this... Let's see, what is that? Does it mean that you can no longer harsh on folks to shoot images and video with gigantic 9.7-inch tablet? I mean, what? Again, I think that a movie editor on this is pretty cool if you're able to, let's say, shoot with your iPhone and then through iCloud, just put it on the cloud, and then you could get it on your iPad and edit on the iPad.
Yeah, I think if you're mobile somewhere and you need to do some sort of video editing, I think it's great.
Yeah.
For those that are truly home video users, just their own stuff, this is great.
This
Why
is
not?
great.
Why not do it like that? I'm jealous. I wish that I could play around with this stuff more. Maybe on my next vacation, I will try to just do some fun iPad video editing. Just of my home stuff.
I did a little video with my iPod Touch. I did an entire little video of the snowstorm that we got here. And it was pretty cool. I mean, it was a fun little video I made. It was very easy, and it was like a 3-minute little like movie trailer I made with the snowstorm.
Right, and I can't help but remember that in the early '90s, in college, and I did a video project. I had to go into a room with equipment that had to be 5, maybe 6 figures, of tape machines and screens and all this stuff. I had to get time on the chart to go in to the room, edit my stuff together. And now this could all be done on a $500 device with a $10 piece of software.
I mean, look at what's happened with audio editing. Look in the radio business and the music business. Before, you used to have to use reel-to-reel machines and
Big announcement. iPhoto for iPad.
I've done that.
I thought there was an iPhoto.
No, well, there's photos. Just
photos.
Photo albums,
Yeah.
but now iPhoto.
Yeah. Okay, so that's pretty cool. No, Sunkast, you were in radio for a while, and you would have to take reel-to-reels, cut them, splice them, and then if there was any editing...
I still have some reel-to-reels in the basement in a box.
Yeah, and if you had to edit it, you literally had to tape them back together.
Well, that's where some of these terms come from, like splicing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So iPhoto is now on this thing. I wonder what they're going to do with that. Because their photo app is not that great. I mean, to be honest.
No, it's just a viewer, really.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess now you're going to be able to edit the photos as well, just like you're able to do an iPhoto, and that has come in handy a lot.
But it's good to have the consistency between iOS devices and the Mac.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you could edit, you could enhance with the current photo setup, so it's not like it's.
It is sort of like what Microsoft is trying to do with the new Windows 8, to have one operating system that basically does the same thing on no matter what device you're using it with.
Yeah.
Something called photo journals. Also, remember, iPhoto's got all those cool products. You can order books and put together all sorts of things. And I bet you that's going to be part of this.
So you're going to get smart browsing, multi-touch editing, professional quality effects, brushes, photo beaming, photo journals.
Photo beaming.
Photo beaming, yeah.
I think that probably. I mean, to me,
Beam
that
me up,
means
Scotty.
that to me means maybe you could transfer photos from one person's iPhoto to another.
That's what it means, yeah.
I mean, I mean that's the only thing that I could think of.
So that might mean, how there's AirDrop now on Macs, and it allows you to use the sideband of Wi-Fi to go directly from one machine to another without a Wi-Fi network. I wonder if that's what photo beaming is using. So you have 2 people with iPads, maybe even the iPhone 4S, and you're able to sense the other devices and basically go between them without without sharing a network.
Yeah.
Kind of like ad hoc.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like how AirDrop works.
I don't know why this is keep. Gary, you know what? I have a Mac problem. Maybe you could help me out. Since I got
When
you
don't
here.
you have a Mac problem?
My MacBook Pro constantly locks up.
All right, you got something running on there or something connected to it that's making it lock up.
I can't think of anything that I'm running that would
You're
do
using it wrong.
it. I guess I am because I'm running. It's always with Firefox for whatever reason. Whenever I'm in Firefox, it dies.
Oh, so Firefox, go through get rid of all your add-ons. Those Firefox add-ons.
I have
get
none.
Them one by one and see which one's the culprit.
I don't have any add-ons.
None.
Do you have
None.
Flash installed?
I have Flash installed. That's it.
I mean, there's add-ons and then there's also plugins.
No, I have none. Nothing.
Stop using Firefox.
That's what I guess so.
I mean, if Firefox is giving you trouble, so, you got Chrome, you got Safari. Use those.
I don't understand why Firefox would do it, but I guess that's what's causing it at this point. I can't determine anything else. I'm not running anything else.
If quit Firefox, start using something else, and if the problem doesn't happen, then you know that it must have been Firefox by process of elimination.
And I had the same problem on my previous MacBook.
With Firefox?
With the same exact crashing problem. I'm assuming it's Firefox. Or Flash. I mean, I think it could be Flash as well.
Yeah.
Let's see what they're doing. So here's some more images of the of iPhoto. I mean, it looks pretty cool. Very different than what we have currently. Here's the interface. So, it's shelved. I mean, I'm surprised they left this for the end. I'm very surprised they left this for the end because it's not really eventful.
I think it's going to be a much smaller market than most people think. I mean, because you have, you could still look at photos and do stuff with photos without it. So this is for people that are photographers and they really want to, they just want this extra functionality. And there's tons of third-party apps that do all this stuff.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Well, they just recently came out with Adobe Photoshop Touch.
Yeah, Photoshop Touch is so... And Photoshop Touch is, I mean, that's got layers and drawing tools and all sorts of things that I'm sure aren't here because they're not in iPhoto.
12 megapixels are showing the camera. Okay, they're showing the auto enhancer, which I always liked on this. Sometimes, you know what? A lot of times it really does a good job, and there are times that it's so off. But when it does get it right, it really does a really good job with it.
So they say the sharing with this new iPhoto app is Flickr, Twitter, and others. But, one of the biggest things people complain about to me is the lack of Facebook support. I mean, it's Facebook's fault probably, but people talk about how on their BlackBerries they were able to post things to Facebook so easily, and then on the iPhone.
I don't understand people that complain about this stuff because these big services now, they support being sent emails with text and photos now.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
there's a Facebook app, and so I say, well, use the Facebook app. Well, you can only post one picture at a time, and you can't play with your galleries. And I'm like, well, that's a problem with the Facebook app. Why?
Yeah.
Why is Apple? Why does Apple need to spend money to improve Facebook? Facebook isn't their company.
Yeah, I at one point, well, you know what my wife uses? She uses either Camera Plus or she uses Instagram, and that posts it to Facebook.
Right. Well, yeah, and you could post to Facebook easily enough. As people want more features, they want to be able to control it like they can in the web interface on their computer.
Well, one thing that Android had a good relationship with them for a while, and now they dropped support from the contacts list. You were able to get Facebook updates in the contacts, and the Facebook image would update, which was pretty useful. That they cut that, and in the latest version of Ice Cream Sandwich, there was Twitter integration, and now that doesn't work either.
Right, and now Apple and Twitter are really close, obviously. I mean, Twitter is everywhere over, Lion and also, and more in Mountain Lion. And then now, on iOS, Twitter integration is really tight. I mean, Twitter is a default app now.
Let's see. Yeah, somebody else in the chat room says, by the way, Firefox, they stopped using it because they had issues with it as well. Safari full screen is so nice, yeah. Does a new iPad come only in white? That's a good question. No, I'm assuming they're going to have both colors. Yeah, they would have to have both colors. I'm surprised they haven't added a third color. You know? They haven't
maybe
added
that'll be the one more thing.
They haven't added like the U2 model.
Oh yeah, one more thing. You're gonna get any color you want.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that people love the white. You know, the whole thing over the white iPhone, and people were just so crazy over that and getting that white iPhone. And maybe I'm just too much of a geek to see it. I'd see the stuff, the functionality, and not the color of it. But you know,
I'm with you on that.
I'll tell you something.
I was like, get a white case, get a black iPhone, get a white case.
I bought the the iPad because my wife, when I got it, I was trying to convince my wife that this was a very smart purchase on my behalf. And I asked her, I said, what color do you want? I'll get a color that you want. And she goes, I'll get the white one. By the way, that's a old salesman, like a car salesman trick. They used to teach you, always go to the wife and ask them what color they want. Because and it's so ridiculous. That's how they used to do it. So if they would talk to the guy about the car, and then they would turn to the wife and like, well, what color do you want? And that's how they used to force them to do like a special order or like force them to buy the car. So I go to my wife. I'm like, what color do you want? Do you want the white one or the black one? She goes, oh, get the white one. I said, okay. I got the white one. She goes, oh, this is hideous. You should have gotten the black one.
Well, it's also like a love and logic thing, right? Anybody that's got kids, you have choices, right? You're told, okay, you want a new iPad? Here's the one you get. And you're like, oh, I'm still not sure whether I want it. But you give them a choice and say, well, forget about whether you want it or not. If
which
you
color?
Did want it, which color do you want?
Yeah.
And you say, well, I kind of like the black one. And now you're sold. You've just decided that you're buying it only because Apple gave you a choice.
Yeah, very interesting, right? I mean, but listen, Apple has the best PR in the world. And this is why Apple is so successful. You know, they do put out premium devices, and again, I'm using that term because we had a whole discussion yesterday on why Apple's considered a premium device. It's the design, really. The hardware is one thing. You get the hardware from MacBook anywhere, but the design is what you're kind of paying for, and the environment is what you're paying for. But when you're looking at the iPad, why are they able to sell this device? They convinced an entire market, entire world, that you need this device, and there was no existing market for this device. It did not exist, and this is not a necessity. This is a luxury device. Mm-hmm. You don't need an iPad, but it's become a top-selling device. They've created the tablet market. They are the only player currently in the tablet market. Why are they able to do that? And that's because Apple is very good at convincing people that you need this. They're very good at it. And the bloggers play at it, too. I mean, the bloggers are responsible for it, too. All day long. I mean, I guarantee you, Gary, this device is coming out next week. We will start seeing the next generation rumors.
Yeah, and also remember, Steve Jobs talked a lot about, the old thing where, don't give, if you ask people what they want, they won't tell you the right thing. You got to give it to them, like Henry Ford said, people will want a faster horse or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that. There was just a few years ago, we were looking at the lightweight laptop market, and everybody was saying Apple should, go there. These little laptops are the next big thing. And Apple was actually looking past that and developing something that people weren't even asking for yet. So everybody said that, I just want a lighter, smaller, less expensive laptop. And that's what all the other companies gave them. And Apple then skipped over it, gave them an iPad instead. And everybody said, actually, you're right. I wanted this. Sorry.
Well, they also released the Air. I mean, remember when that Air came out?
Right. But the Air is not a $300 or $200 laptop.
$1,000 though, Gary.
Top end.
$1,000 for that device, not bad, and you're getting a pretty.
Now it is, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not slow anymore. I mean, people have this idea that it's a slow device, but it's not at all. I mean, it's a dual core device.
This thing, I don't know how I live without it. Right? It's like, it's so thin, it's so easy to carry around. It's fully functional Mac. It's fast. It's even faster than it's faster than any laptop I had before, because it's got an SSD in it.
Yeah. I encourage each and every one of you in the chat room. There's a lot of people tuning in today, and it's great. If you go to gfqlive.tv, you can watch our show there. You can switch between a number of our feeds, and we have a great chat room there currently. We also archive all our shows on our website at gfqnetwork.com. We have 13 shows a week. We have 2 tech shows. One is What the Tech with Paul Thurrott. You may know him from Windows Weekly from the Twit Network and his website, winsupersite.com. And then we have Tech News Weekly, which is our panel show. Sunkast is on it. Gary's been on it numerous times. He's our Mac expert. Eric Lanigan has been on it. Many people have been on that show. Everybody that's important has been on that show. So you could tune in, and we have a variety of other shows on the network too. We cover pretty much everything and anything. We do comedy. We have a hair loss show, so a lot of people watch that. So we try to cover everything at the gfknetwork.com. So you can check it out there. Also, check out Gary. Gary's website is macmost.com. I'm a fan of MacMost. I don't really say that to a lot of my guests. I'm not a fan of what they do, but at MacMost, I'm a big fan of. And when I got my MacBook Pro, I wanted to start playing around with the new GarageBand. I used Gary's site and his tutorials to learn the new GarageBand, which came in really helpful, Gary.
Hey, look, so they just announced with the iPhoto for an iPad, you can share using iCloud, which means the return of photo galleries that was in MobileMe, it wasn't in iCloud, and now they're saying you can do that with iPhoto for the iPad.
Here's my thing with this. I'm not using iCloud. And the reason why I'm not using iCloud, to me, they made a couple things are confusing. So if you're using the iMessenger, and if you registered the email previously to like FaceTime, for whatever reason, you can't have it on multiple devices.
You can't?
I had an issue with like my email address. Like if I had my email address registered with FaceTime, and when I went to registered with iCloud, it did not accept that email address.
No, because I have iMessage set up on my Mac, on my iPad, and on my iPhone, and yeah, when I get a message in, all three of them
buzz. Are you using iCloud currently?
Yeah, I'm using my iCloud email address.
So what do? Let's say you take a picture and it's on your MacBook. It'll automatically go to iCloud, and you'll be able to access it on your iPad.
Well, so yeah, for PhotoStream. Yeah, you're talking about PhotoStream. Yeah. I've done that, and also even on Apple TV too. It'll show up on your Apple TV. I've turned it off after using it for a little while because it's not as useful. It's much more personal than people think. You look at that and you think, oh, good, I can broadcast what I'm up to, what I'm doing. But in fact, it's like you can broadcast it back to yourself. So your Mac gets it and your Apple TV gets it, but nobody else could see it. And then, of course, it doesn't work. It only works on Wi-Fi. So when you're out and about and take some pictures, it doesn't really do anything for you.
By the way, iPhoto is now available.
Yeah, $4.99.
There's no SD slot, so that kind of diminishes the usefulness of iPhoto, doesn't it?
I don't know.
You get the SD, you get the little camera kit connector.
Yeah. You can
an SD slot.
Yeah,
that works. That works since the first iPad with the old Photos app. So I'm sure it works here.
So it says 3rd generation iPad. That was the quote from the Apple promo video. So I guess
iPad 3rd gen.
3rd gen, 3G.
No, not
it's the iPad 3G that's actually a 4G. This is the problem with the numbering also, because people, when the 3G came out, they thought it's a 3G, but it's also was a 3G. So when the 4th one came out, they couldn't call it the 4th gen. So people thought that was actually 4G. Like the numbering was a little off for people that didn't understand it.
I know. People still call it. I still get people saying I've got the iPhone 3. I'm like, no, you don't. Or even people saying they have the iPhone 3G. It's like, no, you don't have that either. So
you don't have that either. Sorry.
No, that's not.
I have the iPhone S. Yeah, so they're doing like a little demo of it.
They're doing commercials. They're showing the TV commercials or the demo.
So I guess this is them finishing, right? This is them ending it. Now, Gary, we've had this discussion many times on the network about 4G and the caps that are involved. You're getting these crazy streams speeds with 4G, but you're still data capped at 5 gigs.
Are you on 4G? Because a lot of the talk about data caps has to do with 3G.
No, you are.
Like my little mobile device has a data cap for 3G, and good luck trying to get to 5 gigs on 3G. You have to spend half the month just trying to download stuff.
No. 4G does have the caps.
But 4G, it's unlimited.
No, still capped. Still capped.
Well, I guess you just got to be aware of that.
You just have a higher tolerance if it's 4G.
Well, here's the thing.
You can use so much more faster.
They say it's unlimited, right? The term unlimited is not unlimited. The term unlimited is 5 gigs.
Right.
So it's a big problem, especially now. And I think this is going to kind of either force the data carriers to kind of,
If it's
raise
5
their
gigs,
bar.
We should get $5 off, right?
What was that, Sunkast? I'm sorry.
If it's 5 gigabytes, we should get $5 off, right?
Yeah, $5 off your sale, just like Time Warner.
Harkening back to that Time Warner cable story.
Yeah, Time Warner. I don't know if you heard that story, Gary, but Time Warner is offering people a $5 discount at their home broadband if they cap themselves at 5 gigs.
Okay. Well, you look through your history, and if you've never hit 5 gigs, take the free $5.
I read a stat that they said the average home broadband user is using 22 gigs a month.
Ah, well, so this is for the home.
This is for the home.
Cable modems?
Yeah.
That. I mean, you watch one movie and you're that's
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, and that's the thing. And I don't think people understand. And a lot of people are going to sign up for this. And their story was that they're doing this because people are budgeting themselves and the economy's tough. So here's our discount to you: $5 for $5 off. I guess $60. So for $55, you get 5 gigs for home use. I think it's so full of it, that story. And
I don't know if people realize how much they use it.
No.
Like I've got a satellite TV box that's hooked up to my network, and if I choose something on demand, a free thing on demand, every once in a while I say, oh, this is an half-hour program, looks interesting, it's on demand, it downloads from the internet. So, you don't think typically it's like I'm using my bandwidth, but you are when you do that. And so my cable boxes, satellite boxes, are using bandwidth all the time.
So now this is a story. People are saying, let's speculate on this. Are we done with the names? Are we going to see the new iPhone this fall?
The new iPhone. Yeah.
I don't know.
Let's see. They're not quite done yet. Maybe he'll make it all easy on us and assign a name to it.
I think they should go with Roman numerals now.
Oh, it looks like the iPad 2 is going to remain on sale.
Yeah, and how much? $100.
$399.
$399. Kind of.
Bet you that'll drop more before the holidays.
Yeah, it'll be $249, and that's really tempting for many people for $249 to get it.
I would agree with that for sure. I think that's a decent price point.
That's a very good price point. If
it's a very enticing price point, is what it is. It's like, well, it is this device that they generally sell for, a lot more money, and you're going to get a pretty big discount there. It's sizable.
Yeah. So the iPad 2 is, it's the iPad 2 and the new iPad. That's how they're doing it. Tim Cook is back, by the way, on stage. I guess to close this off. It's actually, they should have been done already. I'm surprised they're still going. So here is the pricing.
The new iPad.
Here is the pricing. The new iPad, $499, $599, $699. Wi-Fi and 3G, $629, $729, $829. Wi-Fi for the iPad 2 is $399. Wi-Fi plus 3G is $529. That's still expensive. It would have been nice if they put it to $499, for the 4G, for the 3G model. So this is it, the new iPad. And they look identical, by the way, in that image.
What am I going to call my new book?
Yeah. What are you going to call it?
Now
they are showing the new iPad commercial.
Are you writing it?
Well, yeah, I have my book, that I update for every new version. So the current one is my iPad 2, 3rd edition.
My new iPad.
So my new iPad. Oof. Oh. I don't like that.
No.
That just sounds like a gimmick.
Yeah.
iPad for dummies.
The new iPad. Yeah, that's the name. The new iPad. So they're airing a commercial. We redefined yet again a category that Apple created just 2 years ago of the original iPad. Everything is more brilliant because of the screen, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so talking about Retina, just rehashing the same thing. There will be a white model. There will be a white iPad, meaning
new iPad.
White new iPad. Tim Cook is thanking everybody. Thanks for, privilege of a lifetime to work for the most innovative people. Okay, so he's done. Come on, one more thing.
Do they need one more thing?
I don't know. I just want like the Apple, cupcake.
What would they do for a one more thing? What's left?
I don't know. Oh, hold on. Let's see. Only Apple could deliver this kind of integration.
2012. There's a lot to look forward to.
Okay, that's the teaser. That's how they're teasing this. Oh, what does he mean by this? We're just getting started. Yes. That's what he said. We're just getting started. Okay, we're done here. Thanks for following. All right, so they're finished. And this is the teaser. Well, very, very end of the world-ish. Look at that. Look at that. I don't know if they're threatening me or it's something to look forward to.
The sun rising over the Earth.
Yeah. The Anunnaki are going to land and Planet X is going to crash into the planet. It's okay. So that was it. That was the coverage. So Gary, you're before I let you go, what do you think?
Pretty much what we expected. The name is kind of weird. Didn't expect to have so many app updates. So that's kind of nice. Nice stuff for people to play with, even if you have an iPad too. And I don't know. And then I'll see everybody in line on Friday, a week from Friday.
Yeah, I guess that's it. I guess that's it. Thanks a lot, Gary.
All right, thanks a lot.
GaryMacMost.com. Everybody check it out. Thanks for joining us for the coverage. So I don't know, Sunkast. I mean, I'm not blown away by it.
They did what they needed to do with it to keep it current. Is what they've done, and that's something that Apple is really good at. I mean, you look at what they've done with the iPhone, and they're making the same decisions with the iPad as they did with the iPhone.
Yeah, and if you look at it, let's compare it to the iPod Touch, right? You got the first gen. The second gen had a lot of improvements. The third gen was not that great. The fourth gen was the big one that everybody got, with the thin bezel. This one. Mm-hmm. This current one, they just changed the color. So it's like it skips one.
It's all an evolutionary project. They come out with a revolutionary project, and for the next 5 years, it's all evolutionary.
Yeah. So
it does get to a point where you can only evolve a product so much before you need to do something revolutionary again, and that's something that we have seen in the past with other companies, namely BlackBerry.
Yeah. Well, BlackBerry has kind of fallen.
Well, that's the hole they were in, is that they just keep doing stuff that's evolutionary. They never do something that's revolutionary, and the evolutionary steps are so incremental compared to even what Apple does with the iPhone and iPad.
Yeah.
You can argue whether or not the new iPad is worth getting over the previous iPad, the iPad 2.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about, the next generation of BlackBerry phones compared to the past, it's like, whoopee.
Yeah, I mean, look at it like this. With the iPhone, everybody was expecting the iPod. Everybody was expecting the iPhone 5, and we did not get it. We didn't get that thin iPhone that everybody was expecting, and for whatever reason, we didn't get it. But we kind of know that we're going to get one with the next one. If they don't deliver something new and extreme and innovative with the next version of iOS and the new iPhone, it's going to be, I don't know. I don't know if that'll be good.
I think they almost have to, because there was the whole letdown of it not being the iPhone 5. So if they don't do an iPhone 5 now, are people going to be still with it? Because they want... I think at this point you have to do something a little bit more revolutionary than evolutionary with the iPhone. You have to do something that people are going to say, well, why should we get this over the previous generation? Because there have been so many previous generations of the iPhone.
They've
added all these features that it was missing, and now they're on to the point where they need to start doing stuff that's more revolutionary than evolutionary.
Yeah, and are they going to, and when are they going to? That's what it comes down to.
Right, because a lot of people were expecting them to do those things a few months ago, back in November, when they released the new iPhone.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Well, that wraps it up for today. That wraps up the coverage. I thank all of you for joining us for the coverage. Hopefully, you will check out some of our other shows at the GFQ Network. If you go to gfqnetwork.com, you could see a whole list of shows there. I'll post it in the chat room right now. gfqnetwork.com. There we go. That's our website. Also, gfqlive.tv is where we broadcast from. That's our streaming site. We're broadcasting every day. Tonight, I think we have the Chauncey Hayden show tonight, and Lillian Garcia from the WWE is on. So that should be
Sweet.
fun. Yeah, that should be a lot of fun. All right, guys. I guess I will see you all next time.